So another important and interesting topic today, that is secondaries liver. So this is very, very important both for clinical as well as for your theory. And there are some important factors as well as most of the points are useful for your NEET examination. And secondaries liver, a very, very interesting topic. So whenever a patient comes with the secondaries liver, what history you have to elicit. So this is very, very useful for your clinical examination. So what history you have to ask when a patient comes with secondaries liver. The first one is dull aching and continuous pain in the right hypochondrium and a duration of about 3 to 6 months. So the patient will complaining of dull aching pain in the right hypochondrium, that is right upper quadrant of the abdomen, that is present for 3 to 6 months. And most of the times, what is the cause for pain is because it is enlarged liver which is causing stretching of the capsule of the liver. So that is dull aching pain in the right hypochondrium. And the next most important symptom is loss of appetite, generalized weakness and malaise. So this is because of the destruction of important metabolic organ, because liver is having so many metabolic functions. I already told in the liver functions. So the patient will have loss of appetite, generalized weakness and malaise. And the third one is jaundice. That is most of the times it is mild and only few days duration, which is non-progressive and not associated with pruritus. And most of the times it is because of the hepatocellular variety of jaundice. So that's why it is not very deep and very mild, and it is only a few days duration, and it is non-progressive jaundice and not associated with pruritus, because it is not obstructive jaundice where we see scratch marks because of the pruritus, and most of the times it is hepatocellular variety where there is destruction of the hepatocytes. And jaundice is usually a late feature and indicates that it is enough tissue is damaged. When the liver tissue is damaged more, it leads to jaundice. So jaundice is a late feature in secondaries of the liver. And another thing is history of persistent vomiting with or without blood associated with loss of weight, loss of appetite, and indicates primary in the stomach. So the patient complains of loss of appetite and early satiety, that is which indicates that there is involvement of the muscular layer of the stomach. So the patient will have vomiting with or without blood, that is the patient is having hematemesis, and there is appetite is very poor appetite. So that is a mostly important symptom of carcinoma of the stomach. And another thing is history of backache without jaundice. So pain disturbing sleep at night indicates carcinoma of the body and tile of the pancreas infiltrating retroperitoneal nerve plexus. So the pain which is present in the epigastrium, which is radiating back, that is because of the infiltration of retroperitoneal nerve plexus. So because of this involvement of the nerve plexus, the patient will be having radiating pain back between the shoulder, between the two scapulae, and patient always bends, that is because there will be relaxation of the posterior wall of the peritoneum, so that it gives relief to the patient. And another thing is history of jaundice first and associated with itching, that is it goes in favor of periampullary carcinoma of the pancreas. So initially the patient will have jaundice first associated with the itching, that is history of obstructive jaundice because of periampullary carcinoma. And history of any bleeding per rectum associated with constipation, and it indicates that there are primary tumor is in the colon or rectum, because I already told the most common tumor that is seen in case of liver is colorectal malignancy, that is secondaries because of colorectal malignancy. And history of any previous surgery, that is the patient might have undergone a mastectomy, that is MRM or simple mastectomy, and that is the primary which may lead to secondaries in the liver. So the patient again may come with secondaries in the liver, and particularly when there is history of amputation of the toes, leg, or wide excision of a mole, the patient may present with multiple secondaries, which goes in favor of malignant melanoma, which is a primary tumor leading to secondaries in the liver. And clinical examination. So what are the things you have to examine in the general physical examination of a patient who is having multiple secondaries in the liver? The first thing is anemia, which is the most common common feature of malignancy, and gross anemia is the most commonly seen in carcinoma of the stomach and colon. So these are the two organs that leads to anemia, particularly because of slow bleeding that leads to gross anemia. And jaundice, deep jaundice, it is mostly in favor of obstructive jaundice and most commonly seen that is in periampullary carcinoma of the pancreas. And bilateral pedal edema because of the obstruction of inferior vena cava, that is because of the hepatomegaly, that is multiple secondaries in the liver causing IVC obstruction leading to bilateral pedal edema. And another thing is you have to examine the spine. Any secondaries in the spine, most common malignancies that you have to examine in females is breast, in males particularly prostate, bronchus and kidney. So these are the four organs. When the primary is there, it leads to secondaries in the spine. So these are the areas where you have to examine for the primary, that is breast, prostate, bronchus and kidney. And another thing is patient might have undergone high orchidectomy for testicular tumor presenting with multiple secondaries in the liver, and probably most of the commonest tumor is seminoma, that is particularly arising from the undescended testis. So what are the complications of undescended testis? That is 3 T's: tumor, trauma and torsion. These are the three important complications. So seminoma is the most common testicular tumor that is arising from the undescended testis. And examination of the abdomen, what are the things you have to examine, particularly when a patient is having multiple secondaries in the liver? That is, both lobes are involved and lower border is sharp and surface is nodular, hard in consistency, and typically sometimes you may appreciate, not in every case, sometimes you may appreciate central umbilication because of the central necrosis in a nodule, and clinically it is very difficult to appreciate in every case. Sometimes you may appreciate when there is huge hepatomegaly. And always you must search for evidence of primary, that is carcinoma stomach. Sometimes you may examine a lump in the epigastrium, which may be because of the primary tumor or rolled up omentum. So examination of the abdomen for evidence of any primary, that is, first one is carcinoma stomach. You can appreciate a mass or you can palpate a mass in the epigastrium because of the primary tumor or rolled up omentum. And second one is periampullary carcinoma of the pancreas, where you can palpate gallbladder, enlarged gallbladder as a rounded globular mass that gives a clue to the diagnosis, that is enlarged palpable gallbladder in the right hypochondrium. And in case of carcinoma rectum and colon, you can see distended, you can appreciate on clinical examination, the colon is distended because of the loaded fecal matter, and per rectal examination, you may palpate the tumor, particularly in the lower part of the rectum, you can feel for tumor. And seminoma testis, there is a deep-seated seminoma arising from the undescended testis, which cannot be felt per abdomen. That is because the testis may be very high, not in the inguinal canal. So sometimes you cannot feel the testis at all, but you can appreciate there are multiple secondaries in the liver. And malignant melanoma of the foot or leg, there is evidence of amputation and enlarged lymph nodes can be palpable, particularly depending upon the area where the malignant melanoma has arisen. In the foot or leg, you can palpate a inguinal group of lymph nodes, commonly. A patient might have forgotten that he has undergone surgery for disarticulation of the toe or amputation for any mole that is present over the toes. And second one is neuroendocrine tumors. So secondaries arising from the neuroendocrine tumors of the pancreas particularly, or they are very bulky, huge and but even then they are very large and huge enlargement of the liver. It gives very good prognosis. And coming to the investigations, that is because all these investigations are to detect the primary. So when on clinical examination primary is detected, investigations depend on the type of the primary. So clinically, when the primary is evident, so we can do investigations depending upon the type of the primary. So when the primary could not be found on clinical examination, then what investigations you have to do? The first and foremost investigation is upper GI endoscopy and biopsy to detect primary in the esophagus or stomach. Even any malignancy arising from the lower end of the esophagus, sometimes it may lead to multiple secondaries in the liver. So always do upper GI endoscopy as an initial investigation. And second one is, I already told the commonest tumor arising from the liver is secondaries from the colorectal region. So you must always plan for sigmoidoscopy and colonoscopy and rule out the primary in the colon and rectum. And third one is ultrasound examination of the abdomen and for secondaries liver, and also it also sometimes detects primary, and also you can see metastatic lymph nodes. And ultrasound examination, what are the findings you have to see in secondaries liver? That is multiple hypo or hypoechoic nodules. In between the nodules, we can see normal liver parenchyma and both lobes are involved. So in case of secondaries liver, both lobes are involved. The nodules, multiple nodules, which may be hypo or hypoechoic, and in between the secondaries, we will have normal parenchyma. So this is the typical appearance by doing ultrasound abdomen, and sometimes you can detect the primary, particularly when there is a tumor in the periampullary region, or sometimes in case of enlarged, that is primary tumor arising from the undescended testis, which is located very high in the abdomen. And also we can detect metastatic lymph nodes in the porta hepatis, celiac group of lymph nodes, and para-aortic group of lymph nodes. So portal lymph nodes, that is involvement of the porta hepatis, and celiac group, and particularly in case of carcinoma stomach, and para-aortic in case of carcinoma of the testis. So in spite of doing all these investigations, sometimes the primary cannot be detected. What other investigations you have to do? Because you have done upper GI endoscopy, colonoscopy, ultrasound abdomen, all these things still, still when you are not able to detect the primary, what are the other investigations you have to do? The first investigation is bronchoscopy, because bronchogenic carcinoma, the patient may not be having any symptoms clinically. So you have to do bronchoscopy for detection of bronchogenic carcinoma. And the second one is carcinoma prostate. So the carcinoma prostate may be detected by acid phosphatase test and prostate specific antigen you have to do. And also you have to do rectal examination, and clinically there will be irregular prostate, nodular prostate, which is hard in consistency. So you must evaluate the prostate as well as for detection of any bronchogenic carcinoma, which may be responsible for multiple secondaries in the liver. And coming to the CT scan, so it is high quality, triple phase, both intravenous and oral contrast will help for assessment of the liver disease and other pathology in the abdomen. So still you are not able to detect the primary, then you have to go for triple phase CT, and you have to give both intravenous as well as oral contrast for assessment of the liver disease as well as the for detection of the primary. And Still you are not able to detect the primary, then you have to go for PET scan to detect the stage and extrahepatic disease. And lastly, you have to go for as a last resort for tissue diagnosis, you can go for liver biopsy. That is laparoscopy and tissue diagnosis is a must if the primary cannot be detected. Particularly this will happen when the secondaries are because of lymphomas, carcinoid tumors and neuroendocrinal tumors, where the primary is very small and which cannot be detected by doing all routine investigations. Then you have to go for initially tissue diagnosis and then try to detect the primary. So that is the last resort. If above all investigations you have done and still you are not able to detect the primary. Yes, coming to the treatment of secondaries liver. So there are three methods of treatment of secondaries liver. Number one is surgery. Number two is chemotherapy. Number three is therapeutic embolization. So these are the three methods of treatment that are available. Number one is surgery. In case of, in majority of the cases, the treatment is only palliative, aiming at relieving symptoms. So, because here already there is primary with multiple secondaries in the liver, so most of the treatment is aimed only as a palliative measure for relief of the symptoms. For example, number one, in case of carcinoma stomach with multiple secondaries in the liver, we can do only palliative anterior GJ. So we should not do posterior GJ because again it will be get infiltrated because of the dependent position of the tumor. So always go for anterior GJ. And second one is periampullary carcinoma with multiple secondaries in the liver. That is you have to do triple bypass to relieve the jaundice. I will show the figure. That is jejunal-jejunostomy, gastro-jejunostomy and choledocho-jejunostomy. That is Whipple's resection operation. And carcinoma of the colon and carcinoid tumor, the primary can be resected because these are very slow growing tumors and they usually carry good prognosis. And if the metastasis is to only one lobe, we can go for hepatectomy. That is hemi-hepatectomy you can do, or segmentectomy. That I already told in case of anatomy, that is segmental anatomy of the liver, where we can do liver resection. This segmental anatomy is very, very useful for resection of the liver. And this is the Whipple's resection, where we are doing triple anastomosis. This is a common bile duct where we have resect and anastomose to the jejunum, that is choledocho-jejunostomy. And this is gastro-jejunostomy. This is the second anastomosis. And third one is jejuno-jejunostomy. This is, we will cut the jejunum and anastomose here so that there won't be any bile reflex. So this is the third anastomosis, jejuno-jejunostomy. So this is called triple anastomosis. This is choledocho-jejunostomy, and this is gastro-jejunostomy. This is jejuno-jejunostomy. And chemotherapy, when primary detected to be gastrointestinal tract, 5-FU is very, very useful. I told already. The dose is 500 milligrams intravenously for 5 days or 20 days with 5 cycles we can give. Most of the times it is a very cheap drug and it is most useful drug, particularly in malignancies of the gastrointestinal tract. And when primary detected outside the gastrointestinal tract, depending upon the nature of malignancy, you have to select the chemotherapeutic agent. So for gastrointestinal malignancy, the most commonly used chemotherapeutic agent is 5-FU. So you can give it 5 days in a week, or you can give up to 20 days with 5 cycles divided in 5 cycles. Or when the primary is outside the GAT, depending upon the nature of malignancy, we have to select the chemotherapeutic agent. And therapeutic embolization, this is most important short notes for you, where a catheter is placed in the hepatic artery and substances like gel foam, blood clot are injected so that it will block the artery. So there will be decrease in the blood supply and the secondaries will shrink in size. So this will cause a block in the hepatic artery that leads to hepatic necrosis and decrease in the size of the secondaries that reduces pain so that it will not cause stretching of the liver capsule. So there will be decrease in the intensity of the pain by doing this by therapeutic embolization. And what are the substances used for therapeutic embolization? That is temporary is gel foam, autologous blood clots, and permanent steel coils and bioacrylate. And what are the special types of secondaries in the liver? So we will classify the secondaries in the liver into 3 types. So depending upon their onset, we will classify the secondaries in liver into 3 types. Number 1 is precocious metastasis, that is secondaries occur in the liver before the primary is detected. And synchronous metastasis, that is when the patient presents to the surgical OPD, the patient is having primary on clinical examination as well as secondaries, both are detected at the same time. For example, in case of carcinoma stomach, particularly when it is arising from the body, the patient is having minimum symptoms, so the patient may present with both primary and secondaries. And sometimes metachronous secondaries, that is secondaries in the liver, may appear after treatment of the primary. Best example is malignant melanoma of the choroid, where the patient has taken treatment, but he will come after some time or sometimes even after years with secondaries in the liver, which are known as metachronous secondaries. So depending upon the involvement of the liver by secondaries, we can classify them into precocious, synchronous, and metachronous. And what are the, this is some of the important interesting point what I want to tell, that is what are the causes for bulky liver secondaries. So liver secondaries which are bulky, very large in size, that is malignant melanoma, carcinoid tumor, and colloid carcinoma. So these are the where the primary is small but the secondaries are very large. That's why these are the tumors which are responsible for causing bulky secondaries in the liver: malignant melanoma, carcinoid tumor, and colloid carcinoma. So these are the malignancies that leads to bulky secondaries. And common causes of secondaries in the liver. So what are the tumors which will cause commonly secondaries in the liver? That is CA stomach, colon, rectum, pancreas, malignant melanoma, and lastly testicular tumors. So these are the common malignancies. Because these 6 malignancies you have to remember, because if you remember these, you will be know what is the history you have to ask when a patient comes with secondary liver. So you can ask symptoms of carcinoma stomach, colon, rectum, pancreas, and malignant melanoma, and testicular tumors. All these things I have described what is the mode of presentation of a patient with secondaries in the liver, where you have to look because these are the common primary malignancies that produces secondaries in the liver. And differential diagnosis of nodular liver. So when there is a nodular liver, what are the factors you have to remember which produces nodular liver? Number 1 is secondary liver, nodular variety of hepatocellular carcinoma, polycystic disease of the liver, and cyst. So these are the 4 conditions where it produces nodular liver. Right. Thank you. Medicine. Oh, start in there.